I will share about my journey of pain of losing my son, which I'm still walking till today after 6 years, and how I grew from it. I'm still struggling, but I'm in peace and grateful for what and who I am become today. As a woman, counting on God's grace every day, living in the midst of restless and endless demands from my surroundings. Hi, I'm Olivia Yap. I'm a mother of two, one on earth and the other one is in heaven. But yeah, I'm also a business owner, produce and selling kue lapis. And I'm living in Jakarta. I'm just gonna read, because I forget. I'm afraid I will forget and miss some point. I came from a traditional Chinese family and married to another similar background family, which women, especially wives, are expected to do many things perfectly, but at the same time restricted to many aspects too. I guess this is not only Chinese, maybe mostly Asians. I was rebellious enough to break the barriers, but unconsciously functioned under the pressures and thought that was being a good Christian and a good person should do. And it got worse when I lost my son 6 years ago. When I began the journey of healing from the pain of losing, I was called into walking with others who are also in the same journeys. It was great. I have witnessed how God works in a miraculous way, in mysterious ways, and beautiful stories coming out from the journeys. I love the people and so humbled by God. I serve wholeheartedly. My faith, my understanding about God grew so much spiritually. Like Job said, I had only heard about you before, but now I have seen with my own eyes. That is the journey of the pain that I had. Spiritually, I grew, but little that I know, my emotional and mental are not maturing in par with it. I began to struggle everyday tasks, family demands, peer, work expectations, and the feeling that I have to keep serving God. There's no way I have to give up. There's no way to say no when people come. Can you please, do this, do that, and can you please pray and come here? And there's no way to say no. And as a good woman of faith, I must be able to fulfill. And this verse is always being used. Isn't God your strength? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But I struggle. This verse is abused and mixed with my family background, become very strong forces against my own emotional and mental. I was exhausted. I was tired physically and mentally. I was restless, and worse, I feel guilty for wanting to take a break or to say no. It's rejection. It's not loving. You must sacrifice and carry your cross. That was in my mind. I was confused. At one side, I saw the wonderful, beautiful works of God on the people I walk with, the family, the business, everything. But why am I struggling inside? Crying out to God is like all the negative thoughts, the wishes, the dreams are coming out from inside of me, and I try hard to suppress it. Then by keep going, keep moving, keep serving, and I started losing myself, and even I think at the cost of my marriage, because there's no time to, enjoying each other anymore. I didn't fully understand what Jesus meant by, come to me, all you are worried and burdened, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. You will find rest for your soul. And for my yoke is easy and burden is light. It's not easy, it's not light. I'm restless. That's the questions. I'm physically and mentally exhausted. It shows in my look, and I begin to feel so old, unwanted, and unwell. Although physically I'm there with my family, but mentally I'm I'm losing myself, was not there. And when things that they commented, I feel so ugly, Especially when women I have a crisis. So like when they comment like, Mama, how come you look like, you look squarish? You think I'm old? You think, all these issues coming up out of nowhere. I don't know why. I thought I was like a very happy person, very positive, I need to rest, but I didn't know how. This resting is not part of my culture, my belief. I only know to work harder, I must sacrifice, I must be there and say yes to everything, and so on and so on. I don't know how to say no. I suddenly realized something was really, really off one day. I was laying down on my couch in my apartment. I remember during that day clearly. And then my husband walked in suddenly, and I immediately, it's like you're being caught doing something bad, and I feel so guilty for resting, and I wanted him to see me busy doing things around and capable, and I don't want to be seen lazy. That moment was a starting point of my resting journey. I realized, wow, Olive, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with, like resting? You are tired, why? I started questioning, revisiting, and learning more about mental health. And wow, I was sick. And then mentally, it got worse when the family demands increase, when your parents get old and you need to, do a lot of things to help them. Our parents living in outside Jakarta, so when they come and stay, they mix up with a lot of things, like with the ministry, with the schools, because I also involved in the schools things, and on the ministry and the friends, and also I think I need to enjoy myself by going out with friends, things like that, and I want to exercise, I want to, so many things in the list, like, oh my, it's so tiring. And then the endless responsibilities and shoved it to me, and I found myself angry, bitter, and frustrated. I was so tired, but I can't say no because it made me lazy and unloving. It's not Olive. Then I started noticing, journaling and processing about the rest. How can I get rest? But I remember sharing this struggle with friend from TC. I said, I don't know why I feel so angry. I feel so bitter. I prayed to God, but I'm still angry. And I remember sharing it with someone and with a mentor, and then he actually prayed for me. And it feels so relief when you share with someone, And I can say no. Any invitation comes, and when I'm unwell or very tired, I would lie. Oh, I cannot go because I have this and that, sounding busy, because I want them to think I'm busy and I'm not lazy. But the truth is, I just want to rest. I don't want to go. I don't want to do it, but I cannot be truthful. So give a break, I'm tired, and God is so good during this time. So he opened my eyes. He brought me to and into places, situation where I could learn to rest, study after studies, and friends. I also caught myself always in the studies about resting. God, what I learned is God, He is a God of rhythm. He has orders. He has His ways, and He set boundaries in everything. Why am I not? Who am I? So I realized and repented. I have been doing more and even not the things that He asked me, and He wouldn't love me more just because of what I've done. He has loved me before, never changed, nothing I can do to add more into that. My whole motivation of doing was wrong. I was exhausted and I need rest physically and mentally. So I began to rebuild my security, my identity in Christ. Who I am in Christ is really, really comes to real this time, and not all these things I can do, and I'm not divine by what I do. And intentionally started to plan and have time to rest. This journey I just started like 3 years ago. The mental health after more than 3 decades being a Christian. Wow, thank God I'm not too late. He walks me through this journey. It's hard because it against and involves many other factors and people surrounding me. Because when you start to rest means you start to say no and you set boundaries. And people, especially those surround me, they feel it, and sometimes you get a lot of resistance and a lot of like rejections. Like, why are you changed now? Why are you being so selfish? They are not comfortable with me, and sometimes you're so not loving. They are too demanding for asking for this and that. What else you want? That you're being selfish. So self-care was not, things that we do in our family. And I thought being resilient means to keep going on no matter what. We don't quit, we don't give up. God gave us strength. I thought that's the resilience, because I learned resilience when I lost my son, and how we get up back and we move forward, and we don't get over, but we get through it. But that was not really the real definition of resilience. But when I study it is to know when to stop, to choose your battles. You don't need to fight any battles or live. So just do your part and rest, and God will do the rest. And I know now that resting is an act of worship. It's an obedience to God. He did a lot while we are resting. And in many stories in the Bible that He worked while the humans were resting. When our hands down, His hands. So now I learned to take time off, being away from everything. And I have my ritual of my me time. And thank God my family started to understand, hey, Mama need a break, And then my signal of, Olive, you need to rest, is when I start to get easily ticked and provoke and lose my patience, especially, with my teenager. Means I need to rest physically. Not only physically, actually. Also spiritually, reconnecting back to God. And then after resting, I'm actually more efficient, more loving, more wise. And it must be intentional. It cannot be, I want to rest, but wait until, when I have time. No, you won't. So it must be intentional. And your physical being impacts your spiritual and emotional being. I want to be healthy spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Otherwise, people can't see Jesus in me. How can I be spiritually mature but emotionally unstable, and people can't see the fruits of the spirits? So I can be secure now to say, yes, rest is not lazy. It's obedient and loving.